Hello and welcome to the Legendary Backlog. We're glad you're here. In our show, we cover what we've been playing over the last week and a game over 5 years old in our 5 Year Beyond segment. This is episode 9, and we'll be covering The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I am Brian, and you can find me at TryWinBrian on X. You can follow the show at the Legendary Backlog on Instagram and Facebook, and the Legend Backlog on X. If you listen to the show and you like it, please follow us on Patreon at the Legendary Backlog. It's free and will give you access to all our sites. We're trying to build a community of people that love games. My partner is also Brian. Brian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Brian, and you can reach me at Nostalgic Pixel on X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Also on YouTube, and Twitch is Nostalgic Pixel TV, and on the web at nostalgicpixel.com.
Now people know where to find us. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. I'll go ahead and go first since you went first last week.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start off with the game that I played pretty much second to the most this week, and that's Alan Wake Remastered. I went from not being done with episode 3 to all the way to, I'm on episode 5, about like 90% through it. I think it's about to end. But that game has been really good. I've enjoyed the story the most. The environment's beautiful. It takes place in northern Alaska. It deals with a lot of light and dark, the flashlight that you use, dark kind of bad guys that you have to use the flashlight and shine so much to take them out. It's a really interesting mechanic, and I've heard from a lot of people that this game aged pretty bad as far as gameplay wise, but I personally don't believe that. I think it's actually really solid gameplay. I can see where the animation's a little bit stiff when you're trying to do certain things, but I really enjoy the gameplay, and I honestly wouldn't change it very much. So I'm kind of interested. This really got me interested to see Alan Wake 2. So I'm looking forward to playing that probably sometime in the next year-ish or so. I'm not going to rush right into it. This Alan Wake Remastered has definitely made me want to play Alan Wake Part 2.
That's cool.
Now here, when you get to the end of it, it's going to be even more.
Yeah, I actually, hearing you talk about it has me I've already downloaded it. I haven't played it yet, but I had, since I wiped my PlayStation, I had plenty of room. I downloaded it already. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, it's a great game. I personally never was going to play Alan Wake. To me, it was a 360 game that came out when I had a PS3 only. My 360 had Red Ring, and I just kind of ignored it because it was an exclusive at the time, but now it's been released on pretty much everything. I just was told by so many people that I would like this game, so I gave it a shot. Really surprising how much I did like. People say it's very short, which so far it does seem to be short, but it is about, I'm guessing it's somewhere around like 17-20 hours is what I'm guessing. The next game I played a little bit this week was Mortal Kombat 11. Still going through that. After our Mortal Kombat episode, I've really been into that, catching up with the Mortal Kombat. So I played a lot of 10, so I moved on to 11. I'm still going through that, kind of learning a little bit more combos and moves and trying different things in the game. I got my daughter into it this week, my older daughter. We can't play around the younger daughter, so that kind of makes it a little bit hard. So this week I actually introduced my oldest daughter to Steam. It was a pretty interesting thing because she had no idea that you could play games on the computer through Steam. So when I showed it to her, she was like, wow, all these games, Dad? I was like, yeah, this is like Dad's little secret. But,
Dad's little treasure,
I showed her how to play Mortal Kombat. Yeah, this is where I don't want you guys to don't know, but
you kids are all gonna have Steam Decks soon enough.
Yeah. In all honesty, she's old enough to know about Steam. Which this week I played Gran Turismo 7. I just had the itch, one night. I didn't feel like playing Alan Wake, and the game that we're talking about this week, Breath of the Wild, I didn't feel like playing. So I just sat there and relaxed and played Gran Turismo, and I just forgot how good those cars drive. I mean, like every time you buy a new car, you feel the difference between that and the other. Even if they're both Corvettes, you'll feel the difference between a Corvette one year and a Corvette another year.
Yeah, I was wondering what car you're driving these days on it.
Right now, I'm driving mostly the Corvette Z06.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, that game looks really pretty, really nice.
Yeah, the dream is to have it in VR. And like you said, steering wheel earlier, but I don't have that stuff, so I just play with controller. But it's still real relaxing. The environments are great. The graphics are great. I'm kind of interested to see if Xbox brings over Forza Motorsport, not Forza. They just brought over Forza Horizon, but if they bring over Forza Motorsport, I'm wondering how well that would compete with Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo's become like almost like its own live service, right? Like it's just people play just Gran Turismo, kind of like people just play Call of Duty or something like that, right?
Or people just play GTA,
Yeah, exactly. So it's become like that game. So people that get really into it, and you can tell it's set up that way because to earn money in that game takes forever. So yeah, it takes a lot of time in playing, but it's so relaxing. It's the best game to put on like a podcast or an audiobook and just race while you listen to it. It's really fun. I enjoy it. I played some Vampire Saviors this week. Basically, if I had 10, 15, 20 minutes to kill and nothing was going on, I just pop out my Switch and just play Vampire Saviors. Got a couple games in that way. I really enjoy that game. It's just always good. And the game I played for the first time this week was Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Do you know which one that is, Brian?
I know of the series, but I guess that's the more recent one on the Switch.
No, that's the original one. I bought it because it was on sale, and I really bought it because Ashton wanted it, right?
Doesn't it play like that? What's that other game that you have that you've been playing, Valkyrie Chronicles? Doesn't it play like that?
It's not exactly like that, but it is a strategy game similar, right? Where you do position people and like shoot over cover and things like that. So it's real interesting. I played it. Let's put it this way. I've wanted to play it for a while, but it's just always been another game I want to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this time I actually bought it and I had to show my daughter how to play it. So I had to learn how to play it.
It's nice you're able to show her how to play the games.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the benefits of having a gamer dad. And
that all these different genres.
Yeah, right. Too many games under the belt. But yeah, so I showed her how to play the game, and then she got into it. She really likes it. Like she's going all the way through the game, I think, on this one. The gameplay was fun, but it wasn't like too addicting to me. It's not like I'm like, wow, I should have played this 5 years ago. It was more like, this is a nice concept. It's fun. It's real relaxing to play. The Nintendo Switch virtual cards now are driving me crazy because now I can no longer buy a Switch game on my daughter's Switch. I have to buy it on mine, start downloading it, and then I have to go to her Switch and then basically say I want to load that key card, and then I have to take her Switch close to my Switch. And they have to be like touching each other pretty much, almost.
It's like NFC?
Yeah. The virtual game card will go from my system to her system, but I still have the game downloaded, right? So if I click on it, it'll say add this virtual card to your system. And even if I want to do that, I have to have her Switch close. So I just start deleting the games that I'm giving her off my Switch just to make it easier so we don't worry about who's got the virtual card. Very annoying. That virtual card thing is just... Honestly, I think it's like one of the worst things Nintendo's done. I mean, I think playing games should be easy, really not bogged down. And it really sucks because I've had games where I wasn't the last person that played it. So the virtual card was on one of my daughter's machines. And I had to sit here and go around the house and figure out what machine it's on and then load it on mine. And it's just a big pain.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's interesting that they're trying to like a way to share it. It's just too bad they can't just say, here's this family structure, and that if he buys games, they all have access to it.
Yes, that's the way it used to work, right? It used to be if you had your account on a Switch.
It works that way on other accounts, but maybe not on Nintendo.
Yeah, not since the update for the Switch 2 with the virtual cards. They've made it more locked down than ever. There's like no point in buying a physical copy anymore because it used to be with physical copies, I like on the Switch because I can take them from one Switch to the other and just bounce them around, and it's none of this, who owns what, all this, right? Because of the virtual card thing, it's like even if you buy a physical, it turns it into a virtual card. And then when you physically move it, it takes it off of the other people's system. So it used to be the way it worked was, as long as somebody's not playing it, you could play it on the Switch that had it. But now it's like, it doesn't matter if anybody's playing it. If you play something that doesn't belong, that isn't currently on your Switch as a virtual card, you have to go track down that Switch and basically add it to it. Like almost like you're just passing the game along. It's real annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds really annoying.
Yeah, I really wish they'd reverse that.
And that's a new change, you said, because I noticed one little change, but I don't have enough Wii's to do it. But the screen sharing feature shows up, but of course it's just for the PlayStation, for the Switch 2. But that's neat though. If you have a Switch 2, it's right there, and all the Switch owners probably already have the update.
I'm hoping they reverse it, but they're not going to. It's the smart move to make money. It's not the smart move to make gaming fun. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the last game I played this week was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah, that we'll get into that game later. All right, Brian, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you've been playing this week?
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so this week, one of the things I did is I played, since I was on my Switch, I played Super Mario 64 from the Super Mario 3D All-Stars that I picked up a while back. It's nice. It's not widescreen, which would have been nice if it had widescreen support. But anyway, it's fun. I pop in every now and again and work my way through that a little bit here and there, kind of piece it together. I enjoyed it. I didn't spend too much time because on my Switch I was mostly playing Zelda. But other things I was doing is on my computer I got set up. I was wanting to play some retro Mac games and stuff, or just old games on the Mac. So I was setting up a virtual machine for like Mac OS 9 and trying to get Night Trap for the Mac, as which one of the discs, one of the things I have or had. Anyway, so I was able to set it up to work on play the PC version, and that was fun. So I have some old Night Trap, and if you don't know what Night Trap is, it's an old full motion video game that came out early around the launch of the Sega CD. It's where I played it. It also came out on other things, and anyway, it came out on the PC and then the Mac and the other things. It's fun. It's campy. I only played it for a little bit. I was just trying to get it set up to work, because then I was thinking about playing some, trying to get it set up. And then as we were, playing Panzer Dragoon last week, I continued playing more of it on the Sega Saturn, except I found a widescreen hack that was a lot of fun. So I was able to play the original Panzer Dragoon now in widescreen on my Sega Saturn on the TV.
Now that is very cool.
That was neat.
So it's still the same graphics, everything, right? But it's just widescreen.
Yeah, just aspect full widescreen. Yeah, nice.
Kind of makes you wonder why they didn't add some more to the game if the Saturn's able to do that.
Well, I mean, let's just say this is a hack. It was done decades later, so maybe they didn't know they could do that back then, but someone had figured it out.
That's awesome. That's a great find.
Yeah, it kind of has me now wanting to go back and play more Panzer Dragoon Orta, which I was enjoying on the Xbox, and put in the hours to unlock the original Panzer Dragoon, because one of the things I remember of having played the original on the Xbox is it did have widescreen support, so I was kind of curious to see what it's going to look like playing it on the Xbox in 4K widescreen versus 240p widescreen.
Yeah,
it looked really. And I checked. I even had my little PVM set up, and it doesn't look stretched at all. It does look appropriately widescreen. It was fun playing that. So I played a little bit of that, and I might look around to see if there's any other widescreen hacks on the Saturn. That was a lot of fun. I recently got my Sadia upgraded with a menu that now does individual game saves to the SD card per game. So that's opening up for me to play a lot more Saturn games than kind of juggling the internal memory and hoping the battery doesn't die at some point, because it will. And I've replaced it many times. So now I can load, each game is going to have their own save file on the SD card. That's making it really nice. And then I kept playing my Analog Pocket now and again. I pull up California Games surfing on the Atari Lynx. That's just one. It's you got a minute to kill or whatever, or 2 minutes, and he just plays right through it. and it just kind of gets me warmed up, and sometimes for the day or just on a break, just trying to get a high score. So that's nice. Then yeah, lastly, I've been playing Breath of the Wild on my Nintendo Switch that I got at the same time back when it came out. So yeah, we'll talk more about it now. In fact, Brian, why don't you take it from here?
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was released in 2017. It was released on the Wii U and the Switch originally, and now with the Switch 2 coming out, it's basically released for the Switch 2 and with some upgrades added to it and promise of more additional DLC.
Yeah, it has a phone app.
The game, it's gonna have everything, man. The phone app makes so much sense because of the Sheikah Slate, though. Just honest on download.
Oh, sure, that would be great. Yeah, it would be something like you would have thought you would have seen in the Wii U.
After this week, though, the Sheikah Slate is basically what Link carries around that helps him out with all the technology. And after this week, I want to get a phone case as a Sheikah Slate.
Yeah, I have a Switch case. It's a Sheikah Slate.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
It came with the special edition Zelda that I got with it.
Oh, nice. I remember that.
I have a map that came with it. I haven't hung yet, but it's tricky because it's double-sided. I don't know which side to hang.
Okay, obviously the only solution to that is you're gonna have to hang it in some clear glass between
on both sides. Yeah,
and have it hover somewhere but make it a wall between two spaces.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, don't run into it.
That's the only way you can satisfy that. Yeah. You know what it reminded me of? Blade. I can't remember which one. I think it was the first one when they had those archive sheets and all that glass that Blade eventually broke up.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do something like that.
Yeah. No, I've kept really good care of it, and I've kept it all flat and everything. So I'm gonna use it at some point. But I just got the game. I didn't feel like that. Like, ooh, of all the Zelda maps I want to throw up on the wall. That's not the first one, but I do want to take care of it at some point. I'm going to figure out a way to hang it. I don't know. I'd love a really cool 3D map of A Link to the Past map world. That'd be fun.
3D map to any Zelda game would be boss mode.
Mm-hmm.
Link to the Past, definitely, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about what Zelda is. The Breath of the Wild is an action role-playing game where you play as Link, the protagonist of the game. The Zelda is actually the princess you're saving. I'm just putting that out there for the people that may not know about Zelda games.
The Legend of Zelda series, yeah. Yeah. Even though it's called Legend of Zelda, you play Link and you go save Zelda, generally.
Link uses things like, very common for every game, he's usually got a sword, a shield, there's boomerangs, there's arrows with bows and things like that, and there's bombs and all kinds of things that he uses just to solve puzzles pretty much and eventually work his way up. In this game, you want to kind of gear yourself up enough to go take out Ganon, the Calamity Ganon, which is the ultimate bad guy.
And it's funny enough, you can go straight to him if you want, but it's not easy, but you can, like what I did, and probably what Brian did is, we just played through all the game until we were up to the point where it's time to go kill him.
Yeah, this is exactly how I did it. But you bring up a good point, right? This game has a starter zone, right? In the starter zone, you can base this plateau where if you go off this plateau, you're just going to instantly die. The game even tells you it's a fool's errand to do it, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, it wouldn't be a smart choice to try and get on off this platform.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a small tutorial space.
Yeah, and there's these 4 things called shrines. Shrines are basically like mini puzzles or mini areas that have puzzles. They can be short to long to complex to easy. Just depends on your game style and your mind thinking. There's 4 shrines on the plateau that you start off at. The 4 shrines kind of teach you the game pretty much, right? And what's unique about these 4 shrines is that when you first go into them, you get a power. Like one of the powers is the ability to just instantly have a bomb out of midair. You just create one and throw it and explode it. Another one is being able to control an object's time, where you can freeze something, and if you hit it after time runs out, it'll bounce that direction or really super bounce if you hit it hard.
Yeah, it'll react or it'll collect that energy and store it up to cause it to trigger to fly across the world.
Yes. And then another shrine does basically water freezing, which if there's ever any water, it doesn't matter if it's on the side or the bottom or anything. Like if it's a waterfall, you can still make like a block come out of there that you can kind of climb on.
Yeah, you can use it to solve puzzles.
The last shrine on the little plateau is the one that gives you the magnetic power. And the magnetic power is your ability to basically move and control anything that's magnet only or metal only. In the Breath of the Wild, this takes place in the open world of Hyrule, which is mostly wilderness, so there's not that many metal objects around. But so for an example, like you could be around like some trees and a lake, and there could be a chest in the lake, and you could use the magnetic power to pull the chest out and put it in front of you, or you can use it to solve puzzles using the same kind of method, things like that. But once you finish the plateau, it basically allows you to go anywhere you want in the game. And that's what Brian was saying. The game even tells you you can go take down Ganon. Why don't you go from there, Brian?
Yeah, like he was saying, you go into the plateau, it gives you like your abilities and explains how they work, sends you off into the world, and you look straight ahead. You can see the right where Ganon is, and you can go straight there, and it's not easy, and it's very challenging. Or you can go off anywhere, any direction really, and just kind of explore and then work your way through. And then, like he mentioned, there was like these, I don't know, there's these like 4 dungeons basically you're going to play, or and you can play them in any order, any pace you want, and just go off and explore. There's all these little like micro puzzle dungeons that are called shrines. There's 120 of them. So, and the nice thing I like with them is that once you locate one, it creates like a teleporting location. So as there are so many different ways to travel around, I do enjoy just teleporting around a lot more than I did riding horses. Although it's neat to ride horses, it just seems like a lot more work. And I never got the DLC for the. Did you ever get the DLC for the motorcycle?
I think I have it, but I haven't played it. But what I will say is, like, I'm the same way with you. The quality of life that porting to any shrine, I mean, I will just go out of my way searching for a shrine just because I've made it to this area and I don't want to like have to walk here again or ride a horse here again.
Oh yeah. Like say you walk up, you climb a giant cliff and you use everything you can to get up there. And then you're like, all right, I need to find like this shrine up here. There's got to be one just so that you can save yourself the trouble of having to do that again.
And another thing about this game is eventually you require this item that like starts to beep when you're close to a shrine. And when I say close, in terms of the game, it could be like up a mountain, it could be across the town or anything. It's like it picks up pretty far. So for me, it's real easy to get sidetracked. Like I'll be going one direction and then there's a shrine. Beep, 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 go to that shrine. Then I'll start trying to head back the direction I'm going. There's another shrine. And before you know it, I'm like going north instead of going, west or east like I was planning. So there's a lot of sidetrack involved whenever I play. I almost let the world dictate what I do, Like if it's raining, you can't climb because everything gets slippery, which is a great thing to talk about. The physics in this game are amazing.
The physics in this game are incredible. In fact, that was even the huge talk when it came out. Because just a few days earlier, there was a really big, neat game called Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation. And while that game was really pretty to look at, it didn't have quite the same physics interaction as like this game. This game, it's really amazing how like the physics in this game and how, just the ways of choosing things. Since it's so wide open, like you can choose when you when you find enemies, you can choose how you want to encounter them. And sometimes you can, roll like a big boulder over them by like moving it around. And like you mentioned, like one of the abilities to like freeze time, that makes it, to where you can freeze the boulder, hit it a number of times. And then when the timer runs out, it just flies at them and stuff. There's just so many, and the internet just kind of blew up, showing up all these different interesting like physics things that they were able to pull off in the game, which was a lot of fun to watch, and it kind of encouraged you to try more things.
The thing I love about the Breath of the Wild is that they just give you tools and you have to figure it out, right?
Oh yeah, and they make full use of like the switch, like tilting rumble features and stuff everywhere, like in different places. Sometimes in shrines, is like puzzles. So and physics is heavily used in a lot of the puzzles. So it's really cool.
Oh man, I can't tell you how many times like I saw a whole group of bad guys. There was like like the explosive barrels next to them.
Yeah, explosive barrels. They're all hanging around. You're like, okay.
So I just ran up on them and threw a bomb in the middle and detonated it, and like boom, everybody was dead. Free loot.
Yeah, I did that. Except they all blew up and they're alive but on fire. They have little health and they're still on fire. So I just finished them off. It was fun. But be careful, like if they hit me with fire. But it's just, and then they have those big giants around the world that you can kind of choose to encounter with if you want or not. There's so many different things, but one major thing this kind of takes away from like the other classic Zeldas, which it's fine in its own, but it's very different, is like item durability is so different in this game. Like before, you would work your way up to like the Master Sword, and then even in most cases upgrade the Master Sword. But in this case, the Master Sword exists in the game, but doesn't exist till way later. And then also, it's not the same. So you're always picking up new weapons and using them. At first, the person like a traditional player like me, I'm all hesitant about like, ooh, I don't really want to get rid of this, or you hang on to stuff for a while. But after a while, it frees you up on just like picking stuff up and trying it out and throwing it away or whatever, and not like worrying about what you have is so much. And you don't have to worry about using. You don't try to make yourself feel guilty about like using a weapon.
You bring up a really good point about the weapon durability, and just for me, I going back to Breath of the Wild from Tears of the Kingdom, I felt like weapons broke a lot quicker in Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure if you noticed that or not, but
oh yeah,
it just seemed like I was going through weapon after weapon, which was fine because like almost everything you kill drops a weapon.
Yeah.
And as you kind of progress through the map, they get harder. They drop better weapons, so you have better weapons to fight harder enemies. But you really don't level up in this game like a traditional RPG like level 1, 2, 3. And so forth. What you do get is heart containers and stamina. And basically the way that works is if you get 4 shrines, you'll get these things called spirit orbs. And if you have 4 spirit orbs, you can go to the statue and you can turn it in for a piece of heart or a piece of stamina. I personally go for hearts until I got enough to survive like a big hit from something like a boss or something in the Divine Beast. Those are the dungeons. But once you get to the point where you got quite a bit of stamina, the game really opens up and gets really fun too. So either way, and then I'm pretty sure I found this before my first playthrough, but I found in this one village, this dark stone guy that would basically like you can take your hearts and turn them into stamina, and take your stamina and turn it into hearts back and forth.
Uh-huh.
But it actually would cost like one thing to do it. But if you're later on in the game and you want to adjust it, you totally can.
Oh, that's cool. I never tried using that. Yeah, for me, I was similar. I started off picking up a few hearts, and then once I had about 5 more container hearts or whatever, I switched it over to and like upgraded my stamina for a little bit, and then went back to like tons of container hearts, and then later on just like stamina, I can jump off a mountain.
Yeah, I can always live without the stamina because the food, which we'll get into that. So in this game, you collect things like apples, critters, bananas, just all kinds of things, nuts, salt, rice, milk, things like that. And you have to come up with, and meats like drumsticks and steak and stuff like that. And you have to come up with recipes by just trying them out. And you'll start to learn what the recipes do, but there's certain items that'll give you stamina, like I think it's called the Similis room. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but if you put that in your dish, it'll give you stamina. If you put more than one, it'll give you more stamina, but if you pair it with a lot of stuff, it'll give you like a tons of stamina. That's how I get around not having much stamina. In addition, there's also elixirs, which I didn't get into much my first playthrough, but this playthrough I really got into. And there's really easy to make like 5-minute elixirs that make you move faster. That helps you climbing, so you don't need as much stamina.
There's also ones that keep you warm.
There's other ones like attack bonuses. There's defense bonuses. You name it. There's like a buff or debuff for it you can make with the food. But that's such an intricate system, and I love it to death. The first time you do it, it doesn't really make much sense. But after you get into it, you really start to everywhere you go. You're like, oh, I gotta shoot that bird. It's gonna give me 2 drumsticks.
I spent so much time in cooking in this game. It was so much. Like, in fact, I loved this cooking like mini game of this thing, just picking out everything, trying to figure out what was what, and then like actually putting it to all good use. And but just like cooking was fun, but like there would be times like I'd spend like hours just cooking in that game before I went off to go do something again. But I had so much fun. Like, and then like you said, there's all these different animals and different things you can hunt for. Like you hunt now, sometimes you're hunting like you see something. For starters, like I see a shiny, I usually want to go check it out in Zelda. I definitely just like picking everything up and then spending all that time just kind of mixing it up, going through your inventory and cooking, and it's just so much fun. It was such a big deal that when when they made Bloodstained from the creator who did helped with Castlevania Symphony of the Night stuff, Igarashi or Iga from his Igavania game, he added cooking that was similar kind of in all like the Legend of Zelda, but like he liked it in Breath of the Wild so much that he added it to his game. And when I played it on his game, I also, I was a completionist. I was just going through the list of everything I could possibly cook. So with this game, it triggered like cooking, but like I love, it was so much fun cooking in this game. You hadn't really cooked at all in any of the games, but this was the first one. It was a lot of fun. I just, enjoyed like unlocking it all or just spending time filling up your bags with all this food. So like you feel like you go out do anything like, with, like you say, the stamina or just health. It's just useful for health, just getting around. Yeah. It made you strong enough to feel like you go do something stupid, let me go beat this giant without having an idea. And then,
Well, I mean, it's kind of like it creates this ebb and flow, right? It's like, you sit there and you cook and it might be a little tedious, but you like, boom, you got like 20 dishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you go out and explore for like 4 or 5 hours, fight some really hard stuff. It smacks you around. You start using your mills, or you use them for stamina or whatever you need to be warm in cold places or whatever. You start running out of mills, so then you got to make sure that the whole time you're running around, you're collecting like stuff to make mills with, or you just got to stop and scavenge for stuff to make mills and hope that you have enough money to sell items to buy you with rupees to buy items for food, because you're going to need it to go back out there. It makes this ebb and flow. It's a really nice system. I enjoy it.
Oh no, yeah, I enjoy just sitting around and cooking for an hour. So sometimes, like you said, it's kind of you go and you make a bunch of food, you go out for a few hours, come back, make more food. Yeah, it has an ebb and flow for sure. One I never got really used to was the horses. It's neat that you can have horses and you can put them in your stable, but with all the fast tracking around, I never felt the need to just go put them back in their stable. So I usually just left them.
My problem with horses and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is that they really are anti the world, because to me it's only good to ride a horse if you want to go a long distance very short, right? But most of the time you can port to a shrine to do that, right? So that's kind of anti world, number one. Number two is that the greatest thing about Breath of the Wild is the world is so rich, You can't ride a horse very long if you're like trying to shoot, you're trying to shoot like birds and bears and things like this to get, or collect apples, or if you're checking for karaoke seeds, which is another thing we got to get into. You see this cave, you got to go in this cave. A shrine starts beeping. It's just basically, for me, there's always
so much exploring.
Yeah, there's so much exploring.
So many dense spaces to explore, like you say.
That it's just better to walk than to get off and on your horse, That's basically my point. So I never really got much into the horse system either.
Yeah, me neither.
There's some really nice horses you can do, and there's some horse challenges I looked up. They look pretty good. But at the end of the day, it was just to get a really nice horse, which I'm never going to use. So, that is what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about the horses. They were neat, but having to deal with them and just like either fast travel or travel, from shrine, fast travel. But like, there's just so many different things like shield sliding or just jumping off. If you have enough stamina later on, you can just like jump off a cliff easy and just hang glide to a space. But there's so much exploring, and you usually want to be, like you said, you want to be around to see what's around the corner often. And riding a horse is fine, and there's some nice horses. But yeah, when I played through it, I just had so much fun just exploring the map and unlocking it, like going to the different towers and clearing out and like flying around to the next place. And the way I kind of played through the game on the map, I just kind of went counterclockwise from where the starter zone was, and then I kind of went back down further south and checked out different corners. Yeah, I just had so much fun going through them. And then when you get to like the different areas, I thought it was neat when you went to the desert area and you had to dress up as a female because all the females were the ones that had the power in that area. So in order for you to be listened to or walk around without being bothered, you had to dress up as a female. I thought it was funny.
That was pretty funny. And that culture was really well developed too.
Another thing that was fun looking through on my Switch is because this was one of the first games I got on the Switch. One of the things I did is I took a lot of screenshots as I was playing and enjoying like that feature. So I have like a big scrapbook of my like play history and stuff where I was at different locations, and it's fun looking back at it. Like when I was hunting for a big bear, and I was just really hunting as far as like photo hunting for the bear. It was really cool. Or just different areas, like I mentioned when I was out in the desert, going through that area. What about you? How'd you make your way through the world?
Oh, let me see. My first playthrough, I started with the cold area where you fight in the bird thing, the bird divine beast. And then my second playthrough, which I started this week just for this podcast, I made it to the Zora for some reason. So I went like opposite directions my second time through. But yeah.
Oh yeah, well I went to Zora first on my first playthrough. Yeah, because like I said, I played it like counterclockwise.
So this is kind of like how I feel. Is that some games are like it's open world, you can do whatever you want, right? But it's not. That's not really true because if you go a certain direction, you'll like need to be higher level or you'll need higher gear, so you got to go to another place to get that. And then by the time you go back, it's appropriate level, that type of thing. But this game, Nintendo really promised that this was an open world game that you could pretty much go any direction you wanted. So I purposely went the opposite direction of where they told you to go in my first playthrough just to see how things would go. And yeah, it like totally worked out.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I didn't know there was any particular way. I just kind of naturally went counterclockwise. Later in the game, though, since it's an open world, like I found out how I was able to buy a house in one of the villages. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty neat. I never bought a house in there. At least I don't remember I did.
Yeah, the house way up on the northeast side of the map up there, there's one that can go on an auction, and then you can buy it.
It's pretty neat.
And that was just something I played around with after I like kind of completed the story part of the game. Because this game's so open, after I played a bunch of it before I went in to finish the story part, but I knew even after I finished the story part, I was just going to keep playing and discovering and unlocking more places and shrines.
One of the things that I really like about this game is the towers. We haven't really talked about that yet, but the way it works is,
well, yeah, that's how you unlock the map, I was saying. But those are fun. I would head towards them to unlock an area for the map.
Yeah, but what was so great about each tower is they're not like Assassin's Creed towers where you just pretty much have to climb. They are really, some of them are really tricky, right? Like one of them, I had like 5 arrows of fire, and I thought I could burn this thorn all the way to the top. Turned out that 5 was short, so I went back with 10, and I had 2 left when I got to the top. So it's just like little things like that, they make you really use your resources, use your powers, use the physics to open up these towers so you get the map from. So that was really fun thing to remember. Because, after you unlock all the map early in the game, it's like something you kind of forget about because it's just there, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting too. You brought up earlier how we mentioned like the Sheikah slate, which is the thing. It's basically the Wii U controller or the Switch, that that Link has that he uses to unlock the map and stuff when he pulls up information. It's you can tell like this game was originally designed for like the Wii U and like that Wii U screen controller because he has his own, and it kind of updates it there when you go up those towers. It's neat.
This game sold 1.7 million copies on the Wii U by December 2020. It also sold 32.62 million copies on the Switch by December 2024. So,
Yeah, I only knew one person who played it on their Wii U when it came
but
out.
that's an impressive number. I mean, when you're talking 32 million copies sold, that's an impressive number. It's half of what Mario Kart is, but that's still an impressive number. What was your favorite part about the game? What was your favorite thing that kept you in it?
Favorite thing was cooking. I really like cooking. That kept me in it, but just because it unlocked potential different things with, like you mentioned, stamina. Besides, at a time before you had like more stamina than you knew what to do with, it made certain areas reachable. Or like when you didn't have, because like this is like we mentioned a lot of physics and stuff. So there's different areas, and these different areas have different climates, and you have to have different clothes in order to deal with certain these climates and stuff. If there's a thunderstorm, like if you have a metal sword on, that could be a problem. So you might have to switch weapons or shields, stuff like that for lightning storms. So you don't get and there's areas that are like that. So you end up having this vast collection of clothes that you change out with in different ones. And it's neat that this game works with amiibos because I have like some Zelda amiibos, and that unlocks like classic Zelda outfits and stuff, and those are a lot of fun. And so you end up with a bunch of different clothes you can wear. Some, but then they have different stats and they have different purposes. I liked that part of the game, and the end game for me was trying to get like the best gear I could, which was a lot of fun, and then just getting all the alternate different ones from like the monster guy from the balloon. I have like this very emo black evil Zelda outfit. It's sometimes I'll wear like everything but the crown, and then I'll put that on for the crown. So it's like dark evil Zelda in like guardian gear. Yeah, I enjoyed it. The shrines, they're unique and they are fun. And I do like them, but as neat as the 4 dungeons were like moving objects and stuff, and they were interesting themselves. I was still wanting more like classic dungeon Zelda, but I get that in other Zelda games. But this Zelda was the shrines were so much fun. My least favorite shrines were the versus battles, and my favorites were the puzzles.
Well, that's good, Brian. My final thoughts on Zelda Breath of the Wild is that it's an amazing game. The world is really what sells it. Link is awesome. Don't get me wrong; he's always going to be like a great protagonist, somebody you want to play, somebody you enjoy. At the end of the day, the hero of this game is the world. Just this is my second playthrough, and I found this field where there was just like a circle of claymores, and this is like early in the game, and there was a circle of claymores just in the ground. You could just pick up as many as you needed, and at that time, I really needed weapons. Just the things you come across, just the random enemies that you come across, the way you defeat enemies. One of the tag thing about Zelda is, there's always a special way to defeat almost every enemy. Like I found out that those, I forget what they're called, but the alligator looking guys that stand up real tall, because they can't see underneath them, if you stand underneath them, they literally won't do anything. Like you can just stand there and like slowly poke them to death. It's pretty funny. But yeah, there's like these rock monsters that are kind of mini bosses that you take out special ways. I thought the Divine Beasts were great. Personally, I thought they were some of the best dungeons I played. But there was only 4 of them.
Oh, I enjoyed them as dungeons. I just was the only thing with I just hoping like a regular dungeon every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're all waiting for them to match the water dungeon on the Arcana of Time. The ultimate dungeon for me.
I don't know. I didn't like that one.
Oh man, the second time you go through there, it makes so much more sense.
Mm-hmm. Reminded me of the ice dungeon in Link to the Past, all the levels.
Well, that's a good one. I think this game is just really shines. I mean, it's this game screams to me Nintendo knows how to make games because the game isn't like the graphically the best. It runs consistently 30 frames, but it does chug a little bit on the Switch here or there. But the thing is that it's just the gameplay is solid. I mean, I want to play it all day. I mean, I had trouble putting this game down just to try and get back to Alan Wake, which I hope to beat for this week, but unfortunately I couldn't do it because I was just so busy with Zelda. It's just really addicting, really great gameplay. What are your final thoughts, Brian?
Well, I think I spent like 95 hours in this game, so that's a lot of hours, and I really enjoyed it, just exploring around, and it was a fun way to, like, for me, even though I had a Wii U, I picked this up with a Switch at launch, and I played the whole time on my Switch, and it just felt like a great way to, like, introduce yourself to this new handheld and home console, Switch. I really enjoyed the game. The only thing is, to be fair now, since this game has come out, there's been another one, Tears of the Kingdom, and that's the one I find myself playing still even more to unlock. I did basically for this game. I didn't 100% it like with all the shrines, but I ran it pretty far out, and then if I do pick it up, what I usually do is spend time trying to unlock a shrine or two going back and playing this game. So I didn't start a new game. I just kind of revisited my old game save, and it's just so much fun to go back now on my old game save and just kind of hunt down those remaining shrines here and there. But if I were to, like, I don't know, I think I'd probably want to play through more Tears of the Kingdom, and that's just unfair to this game. But one thing I do like, as you mentioned, the art style, is this game was originally on the Wii U as well, and it was designed for the Wii U. But I think I love how it has this like cell shaded look of like a lot more complicated style of like a Wind Waker cell shaded look, where the shading, it just works really well with the system and its strengths and its weaknesses. It's good at hiding and stuff, and the game looks beautiful, and it's so much fun to explore the world.
And the cell shading graphics hold up over time.
It does have, like you said, the performance hiccups for sure. It has its good performance hiccups, and except I'm curious if the Switch 2, what people have to say when they're playing that version.
What are you doing this week, Brian?
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, I'm not preparing to go anywhere out of town. I'm going to be home this weekend, so with around the house, I'm going to try another 36-hour fast. See how that goes, and I did it once last week, and it went all right. I'm going to try it again one more time and see how that goes. I plan on writing some more on my website, nostalgicpixel.com. I've been working through some different films and watching those that I've been enjoying. I'm going to keep doing some of that. I'm going to get back to Resident Evil 4 Remake as far as games. That's what I'm definitely going to work on. How about you? What are you going to be up to this week?
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to be on vacation this week. So I actually do not work for a full week. And I am going to Florida to be on the beach for 4 days. So I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming for this vacation, and I'm really going to try and live it up. Really looking forward to it.
Now you're taking your Switch with you, right?
Yes, I'm taking my Switch with me. I was playing Valkyrie Chronicles. I was doing real good. I even slowed down because I wanted to beat it on my trip. But then now I started playing Breath of the Wild again. And to be honest with you, your comment about Tears of the Kingdom struck with me, because when I played Tears of the Kingdom the first time through, I thought, man, there's no reason to go back to Breath of the Wild. But after coming back to Breath of the Wild, it's just such an amazing game by itself, I think it's going to be like considered the lesser one out of the two, but it's definitely a full game by itself. It's great.
Yeah, I would say if anybody who's adventure enough to want to play both, I would say play Breath of the Wild for sure first before you play Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely. I would say do not play Tears of the Kingdom first.
And if this is your first Zelda and you're not looking to spend like 50 or 90 hours into a game, there's a lot of older ones there. And then also on the Switch, like Zelda Link's Awakening remaster is a Game Boy game remade on the Switch, and that's fairly short and a handful of hours, and the puzzles are great. It has a whole different look to it. That I would say that one would probably be a good one if you're looking for something shorter.
Excellent recommendation, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you, Brian?
Yeah, thanks again for asking there, Brian. Yeah, you can find me at Nostalgic Pixel on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube, and on my website, nostalgicpixel.com, and when I stream some of these games on Twitch at Nostalgic Pixel TV. How about you, Brian? Where they can find you?
You can find me at Trywin Brian on X. We want to thank you for listening to the show. If you liked it, please give us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. You can follow us on Patreon at the Legendary Backlog. It's free, and it will give you access to all our sites. We're trying to build a community of people who love games. See you next time.
Later.